All right, guys. So today we're gonna check and peek on the 1.7 currently on CN tier list, and it's not just one tier list. I've gotten a couple, so we can actually have a broader understanding on what the CN community is thinking. Because like usually I show you this, right? But today we also have some other tier lists. There's even more of those, but I just got three in total, and some are from Bilibili. This one is from Weixin. I don't know what that is, but I got it linked by my community on Discord. Now, first of all, they have some similarities, yes, but from T1 and below, especially T1, it's basically like a free for all. Depending on like who's making the tier list, it's different. Which basically, what does it show us? It shows us that not every character is that bad as they might think. They might let us think, right? Because these characters that might appear in T2, some of them are actually appearing in T1 in some other people's tier list. And in other tier lists, especially the Bilibili ones, they also specify which portrait, right? This is assuming this. I'm assuming this is P0. And the P0, we have the Holy Trinity. Basically, it's almost full of the God team, which is Chu, Tooth Fairy, and Six. And then we have the new addition, Isolde, which is coming in the tier list at T0.5. Now, I would argue that P5 Isolde is probably gonna be T0, right? Not everybody agrees, but I think. So the damage is really high, and I will show you that the damage is really high compared to P0 and P5. Like this guy in NGA, which is a popular forum in CN, he did a lot of calculation. He does, I don't know if it's the same guy, but it's the same format, so I'm assuming it's the same guy. It's the same guy. Always makes calculation this deep for almost every character, especially the new one, right? So you can see here that P0 has like DPM is like 11k, and going with each portrait, you can see the increase in damage. And P5, it's a 65% increase on one target compared to P0. On two targets, it's 61, and on three targets, it's 60. So it's a 60 to 65% increase in damage if you have P5, which probably is enough, in my opinion, to make her skyrocket and go to T0, because she's already by default on T5, T05, right? So that's fine. You will see Solde very, very top, very, very on top on every tier list. Now, in T1 here, it says that Spatodia and all of these characters are in T1. Why? First of all, I'm glad that Gatian is getting a little bit more of a spotlight than I thought. I guess the damage isn't that bad after all, or maybe provides with a variety of things from his kit that is like overall is pretty good, right, compared to the others. Because you always have to think compared to the others of the same tier or of the same role, where does he put? Like if he's stronger than them and he can be T2, right? Because if the others are T2, then he has to be T1. So some of these might be bias from the guys that made this, but it's nice to see Getian here. I don't know. This is probably P0, right? So this guy puts it here, right? That's fine. Maybe I don't know if it's a T1 character. Personally, it might be like a T1.5. Surely not a T2. Also, Shamaine. Why is it T2? Right? I find it kind of weird that Shamaine, Beacon Bloom, Medicine Pocket, Yenisei, Balloon, and Charlie. I mean, Charlie P0 makes sense, but Balloon, actually maybe Balloon makes sense, right? Compared, like now we have also Yenisei, but Yenisei shouldn't be at this close to Balloon, right? Like if she's here, then who's higher? There's no healer that's higher. It's kind of weird, right? If you think about it. One of these two is better, and I think it's Yenisei when it comes to raw healing, while Balloon might help with a little bit of mitigation plus I don't know, I wouldn't say that she deals some damage, to be honest. but the counter can help, right? So I think Yenisei is higher at P0, obviously, right? So on T1, we have Spatodia, Jessica, Kala, Centurion, Melania, Pickles, Annalie, and 37. Now, 37, P5 or P3 plus is probably going to be T05, and P5 is going to be T0, IMO. So, and then we have these characters here that are completely abandoned. You know why? You know what it might be one of the reasons why, for example, Voyager is here. It's because most of, like, a lot of the bosses that we're fighting in Endgame at the moment, especially in China, but you see them in CN2, in Global 2. Voyager deals gives a lot of CCs, and the bosses are basically immune every time. They're always immune to CC. They should either remove that or make it dispellable, or not make it that often, so we can actually use characters such as Voyager. The others are here because at this point the roster is so big that the same character, these characters have their own counterpart that is basically stronger in every aspect, so they probably like get pushed down, and it doesn't mean that they're bad, it just means that they are less good than the newer counterpart. Let's say you need 1000 damage to clear Limbo, right? And you have Blunny, which deals 1001 damage. Okay, sure, so you can clear Limbo. Now, a new character appears and it's like Melania, right? Or no, it's she's a star. Let's say 37, right? 37 has 3k damage. It's just an example. Forget the numbers. So what does that mean? Does it mean that since 37 is stronger, Blunny can't clear Limbo anymore? No. It just means that 37 is stronger, period. So you can still clear with all of these characters here from T2 on below. Maybe not at the T4, or if you can, it's going to be extremely difficult, right? But that said, so this is one tier list. Let's move on and go compare it with this guy's tier list. Now, this video has 200,000 views, and this yellow thing that says T0 means they're like at high portrait. It doesn't say 5, it's at high portrait, they become T0. So as you can see, this guy disagrees with the other one, and it says also disagrees with the fact that Voyager is T1, right? So when you see a tier list, check it in general, have a little bit of an understanding, and then form your own opinion, because as you can see, not even the CN agree on one singular tier list. Also, these are all T05, right? Which makes sense because those are very powerful. It probably doesn't take into account the new boss in the mains bulletin, because the new boss has a lot to do with empowered incantation, which makes 6 and Annalie really strong, or not strong but needed, right? Like more needed than normal compared to other characters. So that's why I guess they put Annalie this high, but I think she deserves to be T1, maybe T05 on that boss specifically, right? But yeah, you can see 37 would be T0 if high portrait, Shamaine would be T0, like completely different opinion on the other tier list, right? Spatodia, high portrait would be T0. Then we have Pickles, Kala, Beacon Bloom, and then we have Isolde. Isolde spawns at T05. IMO, I am still saying that a high portrait, she should be T0, okay? The damage is very high at T0, and I've heard that you can actually play her as a DPS if you, like a proper DPS, if you have her maxed, right? So those are the characters which are the classic hyper carries. Everyone here, it's a hyper carry. Like it's a DPS, and the T0 if high portrait. Now the top is the top, and everybody agrees that these are the Holy Trinity. There's no one else that compares to them. Sadly, which means because it means that you need to get them, but it is what it is, right? So these are the this is the second tier list. I kind of agree with this one a little bit more, to be honest, than the previous one, because it makes sense. It also puts Yenisei in T1, which is where I think she should be compared to what is Balloon? Where's Balloon? There's no Balloon. Okay, so Yeah, so let's specify that we are missing characters. It's probably because he either doesn't have them or he doesn't give a fuck about them, or I'm assuming it doesn't have them, right? It's also missing Getion, right? So let's move on the second tier and the third tier list, which is this one. This one has 90k views or something. It was the second most popular. Also, look at that. It's all the cosplay. God damn, pretty close to reality. Now, this one, it's a little more lenient, but they have different different tags, right? So I believe this one with the two lines is second portrait, right? P2, and this one is P5, high max portrait, full, right? So P5 is T0, makes sense. P2 is T0, makes sense. But IMO, even P0 is T0 for Chu, right? And same with 6. You don't need max. You don't need max with 6 to be T0. 6, it doesn't gain anything besides damage and a little more of Eureka gain when we were to gain 1, it gains 2, right? So I think it's kind of scuffed, but yeah, Tooth Fairy maxed out is T0. So this guy is making it a little more like no one goes to T0 as long as like if they are P0, they don't go there. Basically, it puts character with portraits. Spadodia P5 T0. I could see it. Because she gains like basically doubles the critical damage that you get from the 15 plus burn when you do the ult. If you crit, that's GG. Like you're gonna deal like 100,000 damage easily. So P5 Isolde, T0 makes sense. I agree with that. P5 Tooth Fairy, I think like even, you know what? I kind of agree, and I would put P0 Tooth Fairy in T0.5 instead of T1. That's where I would put it. The others here are fine. P2 37, it's T1 for this guy. Maybe I would put it in like maybe T05. It depends how you play her, right? Because if you play her with Cheer and she's P2, I think at that point, the value that she provides is basically that of T05. She's stronger than T1 IMO because you are basically spamming the Eureka that she has, and you don't need P5. And P5 would make her T0. So I would say like in that case, so it's very not complicated, but it's very nuanced who goes where, right? So this is P2 Getion is in T1, okay, glad to see it. P0 Getion is in T2, so this one at least includes Getion. We have Balloon Party here, P0, it doesn't put a, maybe it doesn't have P5 to Balloon Party, but we do have Yenisei here, P0. Which, by the way, you will be able to get really easily if you're pulling for Cheer. Because if you also, like, you will eventually get a bunch of copies, and if you don't need to buy the new copy for Chu in the shop, you can buy many copies of Yenisei, because Chu is 200, Yenisei is gonna cost 60, right? So you're gonna be able to buy like 3 minimum, no 3. So yeah, then we have P1 A Knight. This is P5 Charlie. P5 Charlie, pretty good to be in T2. It's a 5-star character, deep meant to be main DPS. So that's nice. And then we have a Necrologist here. P5 Necrologist, still very used. I'm sorry, but Missed You Babel, still trash. And also very, very low on Ezra. Now, when it comes to Ezra, I want to say something. I feel like Ezra could be very good if they fixed Ezra and Babel and everyone that is a shielder. They need to fix the shielding, okay? At the moment, you cannot solo sustain with the shielder without spending a billion AP to maintain and hope for this shield card to be there every turn in a hard fight with just a shielder. You will die, right? Especially like in a boss that takes like 10, 12 rounds, you will die. Someone is gonna die. So I feel like it's not that fair for them, and that's why they're so low. They would probably be way higher if we had like some sort of new mechanic or a side tube that says something like if you have a shield on you and it breaks, you get healed a certain percentage or something like that, right? You need to be healed in some way, or the shield needs to stay for multiple turns. Otherwise, it's going to cost so many AP, you won't be able to play the other characters, and it's going to be a pain in the ass, right? So I feel like that's it, right? Let me know what you think about this tier lists. Do you agree with those? Do you have like did you see any character that like pissing you off because like what the why is it T3? Why is it T2? I feel like this character should be there. Let me know in the comments, okay? So thank you for watching and see you next time.